Hello boys and girls, welcome back to the weekend recap. At the end of the video, I'm getting ahead of myself already, we'll check in with future me, who had a live stream covering the Champions League round of 16 this morning, but we'll also check out the Derby d'Italia along the way, and the shakeup in Germany after the leaders were blown away 5-0. Also, we'll start our World Cup coverage this week, so be on the lookout for that, alright? Let's go. Manchester City had a pretty difficult time against Fulham. Shout out Fulham, they've been very good since the return. Thanks in large part to an early red from João Cancelo though. As a Portugal enjoyer, that's great news for them as he'll be out for another match now. But anyway, prior to that red card, Alvarez continued his great form as Gundogan played him through and he absolutely lashed it in off of the bar. That got me out of my seat. Longtime viewers will know that. I think that my love for these goals is in thanks to my favorite player, Rui Costa, as he did it against England in Euro 2004. Anyway, of course, João Cancelo got himself sent off as Wilson was in clear. Red card and a penalty there. There was no other way of reading that really. Well taken penalty from Andreas Pereira for 1-1. In the second half, Haaland made his return from injury as he replaced Alvarez, and it took about 10 minutes for him to score as De Bruyne played an incredible curling ball to the edge of the six and he nodded it in, but was offside. But later, De Bruyne won a penalty and Haaland converted it, taking his shirt off in an Aguero fashion with the late winner in the 95th minute, 2-1 City as they set the gauntlet for Arsenal. Arsenal-Chelsea, there's something about Chelsea in this moment that just feels like they're a bit diluted at the moment. Not diluted, diluted, watered down. But I guess that's how they've sort of been all season long, under both Tuchel and more recently, Potter. In this match, Arsenal looked genuinely great at moments. The goal was odd, nearly an Olympico from Saka, but Gabriel ensured it crossed the line as it was crossing the line. But hey man, I'd rather have someone make sure it goes in than risk some sort of random incredible clearance off of the line. You know, that happens all the time in Rocket League. They could have made it 2-0 as Gabriel Jesus held off a few defenders and played Odegaard through very nicely, but Odegaard made a mess of his finish with Mendy at his mercy. 1-0 was enough though, and Arsenal rise to City's challenge. Chelsea though, another poor performance going forward. Playing at home, getting run around the pitch, just 5 attempts, 1 of which made it on target. A chill afternoon for Ramsdale. Chelsea's XG was just 0.26, to put it into perspective for those who didn't watch this match. If Leeds are to survive this season, then beating teams like Bournemouth is an absolute necessity. After they shocked Liverpool last weekend at Anfield, Leeds United played another game that felt like an end-of-season relegation dogfight match. After going ahead early thanks to a Rodrigo penalty, in the 3rd minute, man, doing it early, as he did against Liverpool, they allowed Bournemouth to get 3-1 up by the time the 48th minute had come around. Cue the Leeds remontada, the drama. Sam Greenwood came on in the 54th minute, and he absolutely changed things. Greenwood made it 3-2 for Bournemouth in the 60th with a stunning effort from the edge of the box. Then he set up Liam Cooper from a corner kick, 3-3, with 22 minutes to go. And the goal came in the 84th from the same man that won it at Anfield. Gnonto, with a lightning quick run from deep in his own half, eventually played through Somerville, and the man made no mistake. 4-3 leads from 3-1 down. Incredible match. Adrian double-checked that Somerville scored against Liverpool. Brentford were also close to their first win since October 14th this weekend as they played away to Forest. After falling 1-0 behind, they went 2-1 up for a 96th minute own goal to ensure that these two teams split the fortunes to the final. A bunch of comebacks this weekend, eh fellas? Brighton away to Wolves at Molineux, and there were goals early. First, Adam Lallana masterclass. A goal and an assist for him on the day as he scored in the 10th minute, only for Wolves to bring it all the way back with 2 goals from the 2 Portuguese players, which I know is very unique when it comes to Wolves, eh? Gonçalo Guedes and then Ruben Neves from the spot. But Adam Lallana, with that assist to Mitoma, brought things back to 2-2, and a red to Nelson Semedo, another Portuguese fullback, gave Brighton the advantage in the second half, of which they took advantage. Pascal Gross with the finish as he was falling over. It was coming in that second half, but harsh for Wolves in some ways. Maybe Lopetegui can fix a few things at Wolves as he was recently announced. Leicester got an incredibly important victory against a fellow struggle club in Everton. Going away to Goodison, they got a 2-0 win with a goal at the end of each half. James Maddison setting up both goals, 1 apiece for Tielemans and Barnes. Liverpool went away to Tottenham, and with Nunez causing issues at the back, but with a few misfired attempts, he did indeed set up Salah well later for 1-0. After that, Alexander-Arnold shoved Sessegnon, but it was ruled as not a penalty, while Cancelo previously had given away a penalty for something similar. Not sure what the thinking was there, as it wasn't shoulder to shoulder, as you can see here, forearm in the back. You think Liverpool got away with one? I kind of do, especially given the precedent set by that Cancelo penalty. Also funny, Darren England was on VAR for both calls. Anyway, later on, a ball hoofed forward by Alisson, mistake from Dyer as he tries to head it back to Lloris, and it falls kindly in the path of Salah. That's goals in 4 consecutive matches for Salah, really finding some decent form despite Liverpool's up and down results. I mean, he's been rather prolific just in general this season, 12 goals and 5 assists from 19 appearances. A bit unlucky for Spurs when you look at the balance of the match. It took them a long time to get their goal, courtesy of Kane, as they had a couple of attempts from Perisic go off at the woodwork as well in this match. What was weird about this match at times is that there would be moments of breakneck action going forward from Spurs in the second half. And then when Liverpool would attack, they would just sort of stand off with them and allow Liverpool to walk the ball forward through their midfield at times while they held shape pretty rigidly. It kind of flew in the face of the rest of the second half, but things changed shortly after with Kulusevski entering the pitch. Finally, 2 quick attempts from Kane, one glanced wide, the other went in, and that was it. 2-1 Liverpool. So Liverpool looked great in the first half and pedestrian in the second. The opposite could be said of Spurs. Okay, the Unai Emery era has well and truly kicked off this week as Aston Villa looked like a different club under the man for his first match in charge. Emery's former team was very poor in La Liga when it comes to scoring goals, recently at least, but there were no issues this weekend as they hit 3 past De Gea and United. No easy feat. United's defense has been pretty excellent of late. First, there was Leon Bailey for Aston Villa, who looked like a world beater out there when he was on the ball. Holy, so good from the Jamaican. And of course, Luca Digne with a perfect free kick that curled just inside the post. Before the half was up, United was fortunate in having a Luke Shaw strike deflect off of Jacob Ramsey and past Martinez, who was stranded on one side of the goal. Yet another goal in the second half for Villa, though, as Jacob Ramsey himself got his own. Can't ask for a better debut for Unai Emery. I guess it was a good... Go on, say it. I know you want to. Newcastle United continue their purple patch with a 4-1 win over Southampton. Another great goal from Miguel Almiron. Chris Wood and Joe Willock getting in on the fun. Bruno Guimaraes restored their 3-goal lead late on, and that was a fatal loss for Southampton, as Ralph Hasenhüttl, that was the end of the line for him, and it's not a surprise really. I mean, he has survived so many other times when they have been poor. I guess he had run out of lives eventually, with Southampton sitting in 18th with 12 points from 14 matches. It sucks to see though. I really like Hasenhüttl. So with that 4-1 win, Newcastle are on a 9-match unbeaten run, the longest in the league, and they're certainly good value for their 3rd place position at the moment. Arsenal continue to lead by 2 points, Spurs and United just behind the top 3. Of course, prior to the weekend, Gerard Piqué announced that he was calling time on his football career and that their next match, Barcelona's, at the Camp Nou, would be his last. Therefore, Piqué, of course, got the start against Almeria. There were plenty of missed chances for Barcelona, including Lewandowski missing a penalty in the 7th minute as he tried to be a little too clever with it, a little more crane hoppy than usual. Give that pen to Piqué, I say. But nah, he would have wanted a victory and perhaps a clean sheet more than a goal, I'm sure. More chances went begging, such as in the 40th minute where a squared ball in the air to Dembele forced a nice save out of the keeper, but had the ball been better, I am sure he would have slotted it. But they got there in the end with Dembele basically just saying, fine, I'll do it myself, and going on a mazy Dembele-esque run from the right wing before rolling it past the keeper. De Jong got the second to cap off a great performance from him, smashing in a rebound to make it 2-0, and in the 85th, as he deserves, a tearful Piqué was subbed off to a standing ovation in front of 92,000 supporters. Lovely stuff. At the end of it all, his teammates vaulted him to the heavens. He'll be back, by the way. It's long been suspected that he would be a perfect president for Barca, given it runs through his blood, and he clearly has an incredibly business-minded brain. And, of course, during his farewell video when he said he'll be back, there was a shot of him looking toward the presidential boxes. So shout out Piqué. The man has won literally everything possible in Spain and at the international level with Spain. On to running FC Andorra. Try to get them that La Liga promotion. Another rough performance from Atletico Madrid, as they are well and truly in a poor place, aren't they? With João Felix benched, it was Griezmann and Morata misfiring in the attack against Espanyol, and Espanyol, playing away at the Metropolitano, were playing down a man as well from the 28th minute onward. Embarrassing stuff, unfortunately, for Atletico, for all the good that Espanyol did. And what's embarrassing is that they fell behind at home against 10 men after 62 minutes. Previously, Simeone's boy Correa was brought on to try to change things, but once they were down, he brought on João Felix, and of course, he changed the match again, as he did against Cadiz. Great ball forward from Lamar, one touch to control, and then Felix smashed it in at the near post. He nearly scored again with a powered header, but the keeper made an incredible save in the top corner. And then later, he poked it past the defender and forced another ridiculous save from the keeper, Lecomte, his trailing leg saving him. Espanyol hang on despite the late flurry. Felix once again looking like their best attacker when he comes on. Interested to see how things transpire there. 1-1 the final. Real Valladolid are back to their winning ways after taking a one-day sabbatical, aka after losing their last match, but they improved their record to 3 wins in the last 4 as they beat Elche 2-1, Roque Mesa with what was the eventual winner. I didn't watch this match, but I noticed that Edgar Badia made 9 saves on the day for Elche, so shout out to him. Osasuna continued to put marker after marker down in this league as they got a 2-1 win over Celta. Is this result a surprise? No, not at all. Celta's heads are just above water, aka the relegation zone, but it just adds to the already impressive point haul that Osasuna has as they are really putting pressure on the top sides. I mean, you'll see the standings later, of course. After starting so well under Gattuso, Valencia were held once again, this time by Real Sociedad away, meaning Valencia's winless run stretches to 5 matches now. Frustrating for Valencia as Real Sociedad were a man down from the 17th minute onward. 1-1 the final there. Villarreal fell to the mighty Mallorca 2-0 at home as Quique Setién, Villarreal's manager, becomes the first manager in the club's history to lose the first 2 matches, doing so without scoring a single goal either. Unlucky pal, but it's early days still. The Seville derby was a hot one, 2 red cards for Betis, 1 red card for Sevilla, but plenty of yellows along the way for them. In the end, it finished 1-1, meaning Betis hold on to 4th place while Barca have a 2-point lead at the top. Real Madrid plays against Rayo Vallecano today. Osasuna are right up there, man. I told you, beware. Wolfsburg are starting to find themselves, aren't they? Niko Kovac has been tinkering with their shape a bit. Last week they smashed Bochum 4-0. This week they smashed Mainz 3-0. So potentially he may have found the balance. Of course, the big test will be in Wolfsburg next match at home against Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday. Speaking of, Borussia Dortmund beat Bochum this weekend 3-0 also. With 2 goals from Youssoufa Moukoko, the buzz around him is quite subdued, isn't it? He had more hype when he was in the youth system, it feels like. But now that he's performing well for the senior side, nobody's really taking notice. Maybe that's just the impression I get outside of Germany, as I'm in Canada, of course. I can't speak to the coverage within the country, but outside of it, you know, a lot of the young player hype is going to Bellingham and Musiala, which makes sense, of course. They're at another level and at another level of their career. Moukoko is still just 17 years old and has 6 goals and 3 assists from 12 appearances in the Bundesliga. Not bad at all, man, so watch this space. Gladbach snapped their 2-match losing streak with a victory over Stuttgart, 3-1 there. Hoffmann with the early goal, Thuram and Plea combining with the second, and Hermann adding the last one late. Plea with 2 assists, taking his tally up to 7 on the season as he has struggled for Bundesliga goals. Just 1 for him thus far, but he's still contributing greatly. And now RB Leipzig are looking fantastic and have the form to match. They now haven't lost a match since mid-September as RB Leipzig beat Hoffenheim 3-1 this past weekend, extending their unbeaten run across all competitions to 11 matches. Another brace for Nkunku, another assist for Dominik Szoboszlai, and a goal for Dani Olmo. My fellow Union enjoyers, I am sad to report that Union absolutely capitulated in the second half versus Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi got that halftime team talk right. Leverkusen were absolutely clinical with their finishing on the day. The first goal was a corner that bounced through to Andrić at the beginning of the second half, and he tucked it in, 1-0 there. 10 minutes later, the onslaught began. Moussa Diaby with 2 goals in 2 minutes, the first being a mistake from Union keeper Grill, who was, he was out there in Neuer land. Ball comes to Diaby, Then Union just left way too many men forward, easily killed in transition, such as Diaby second, Amiri then with some magic down the left before his strike was touched by Klozek for 4-0, and finally Mitchell Bakker got the goal he deserved, banking it in off of the post, 5-0 Leverkusen, 8 attempts in the second half, every single one on target. It was wild. Fulkrug watch. The man scored again in Werder Bremen's 2-1 win over Schalke. Mitchell Weiser got 2 assists in that match as well. Eintracht Frankfurt's great run continues. They beat Augsburg 2-1 away, but no Kamada goal this time as Kamada watch continues as well. And Kamada wasn't even part of the squad as he deals with illness, unfortunately, so all the best to him. Sebastian Rode and Ansgar Knopf with the goals for Frankfurt. And finally, with Union slipping up hard on Sunday, that flew in the face of their first place rivals results from Saturday and Sunday. For their part, Bayern beat Hertha 3-2, but it was a bit helter-skelter at times, wasn't it? After going 3-0 up, they allowed Hertha to come back and make it 3-2 before the first half was up, and in the second, Hertha had a goal cancelled. Not as convincing as Bayern would have liked, but the 3 points are what matters, along with Choupo-Moting excellence, another brace for the guy. He cannot stop scoring right now. And Freiburg, they also took care of business once again as they beat Köln 2-0. Gregoritsch, the boogeyman for Köln, as he got a goal and an assist. And that win means that Bayern are back where they call home at the top of the Bundesliga table, with Freiburg 1 point behind them and Union on 26 points in third. Aesthetically pleasing table with those point tallies, 28, 27, 26, 25. Big shout out to Freiburg, who haven't been getting the shine they deserve, thanks in large part to A, Union having that crazy start to the season, and B, their success under Christian Streich has kind of gone underappreciated because he so consistently has them close to the top teams in the Bundesliga. So hopefully they can keep this up and make it a really interesting race. I do apologize to Italy. I'm running long here and still have to get to the round of 16 draw coverage. But it was a weekend of massive matches in Italy. Napoli had to dig deep away into Atalanta in a massive top of the table matchup. After going 1-0 down, they rallied to a 2-1 victory with Osimhen at the heart of it all once again. With all of the Kvaradona talk, Osimhen has been in stunning form considering he was out injured for so long. In all, 9 goals and 2 assists across 12 appearances. The Rome derby, Lazio take the cake there with a 1-0 win. That second half was heated, man. We're talking bench emptying anger between the two sides, which is exactly what you would expect from the Derby della Capitale. Felipe Anderson's first half goal was the winner there. AC Milan took on Spezia this weekend, and Olivier Giroud has shown that he's World Cup ready if needed in Qatar. Holy shit, the form this man is in right now. The winner he scored in the 89th minute, flying through the air for the strike. I mean, unlucky that he forgot that he had a yellow card because he took his shirt off with glee, only to almost immediately realize he had a yellow. I think either Theo or Rafael Leong must have told him that he already had a yellow and he was going to get sent off. But 2-1 Milan. Juve versus Inter. Juve are continuing to get better and better. Sure, they looked poor in the Champions League, but I think that that's a credit to the teams in their group, really. In Italy this weekend, they hosted Inter for the Derby d'Italia, knowing that a win would not only help them gain on Inter in the table, but overtake them and show, even further improvement as they've been getting better and better in some areas of late. In the second half, they absolutely justified their 2-0 win. First, there was free scoring Adrian Rabiot, who is looking like a man possessed this season. Kostic with the assist there. Then Kostic again with the incredible vision, squaring to Fagioli during a quick counter, and Fagioli's deflected effort beat Onana. Now, in between the goals, however, Danilo had a goal called back for this as his attempt came off of his hand. I can see how that's the right call. You can't score with your hand, but it's pretty harsh on Danilo given he had his arm completely grappled by the defender. So what's he supposed to do in that situation? It's a rough one, but in the end, it didn't have any effect. But Juve with a massive win all the same. They jump up to 5th place now and are gaining on everybody but Napoli. Napoli has a 6-point lead over everyone. All right, to future me at 6 a.m. this morning. Good luck, fella. We bless this stream. We bless this draw. We ask that there is no messed up stuff as the balls go in and Halton Top is going to grab the balls. Soboslai is firing. We got Club Brugge as the next team, I should say. Come on, Benfica. Benfica. Yes! Let's go! Okay, so I got exactly what I wanted. Rabona corruption. Adrian got UEFA in his pocket. Yep. My tentacles are all over UEFA. I control it. Real Madrid and Liverpool. Classic. Let's see who AC Milan will get. They'll want Tottenham, I'm sure. And they got Tottenham. I told you. UEFA is in my pocket, man. Big Frank. Frank is going to be playing against whom? Napoli. I mean, the longer the draw goes on, the easier it gets to call it, right? 1 second. Is this what you wanted? Yep. Inter are up against Porto. Okay, that means we have Bayern and PSG. That is a big one. And that's one that I'm sure Bayern will feel relatively confident about. But PSG is a weird team because they have the players where if they're on, they can kill you. But we don't see it enough. You know, and we talked about this on our podcast a little bit. What sort of state and how motivated are Messi and Neymar going to be in the latter half of the season after the World Cup? Because for both of them, the World Cup feels like it's sort of the height of their season at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see what PSG sort of looks like in the latter half of the season. All of this could be completely wrong, and they'll be just as motivated, and they'll be very determined and want to win the Champions League as well to sort of cap off an incredible season if one of them is to win the World Cup or have a deep run in the World Cup. But we'll see. I think it's a question that's worth sort of exploring. So guys, here we go. The draw is complete. These are the matchups. We have RB Leipzig taking on Man City, a match that feels very, very familiar. Something that they'll both be sort of relieved in some ways because they're very familiar with each other. But Marco Rosa is now the manager at RB Leipzig, so maybe things will be a little bit different for them. Then you have Brugge versus Benfica. I cannot complain. Club Brugge were the first team, I think, to sort of solidify that they will be in the next round after going undefeated and not conceding a single goal in their first 4 matches in the Champions League group stage. Benfica still undefeated across 23 matches this season, yet to lose. Liverpool versus Real Madrid, very, very familiar with each other. They've met in the finals twice in the last 4 years now. They've met, I believe it was the quarterfinals previously as well in another season. Yeah, I think it was the quarterfinals. And then you have AC Milan versus Spurs. And then you also have Frankfurt versus Napoli. Frankfurt, always a difficult side. Won Europa League last season. Great support behind them. Napoli, one of the best teams in Europe right now. So exciting to watch. You know, Gasperini said right before their match this weekend that it's curious to see a team who's the top scorer at the top of Serie A because typically it's the team with the best defense. So Napoli are doing it their own way in Italy. Then you have Borussia Dortmund versus Chelsea. Chelsea sort of lukewarm at the moment under Potter and Tuchel previously. So it's going to take some time for Potter to get his tactics up and running and sort of an identity at Chelsea, get them playing some Potter ball as he had Brighton playing previously. While Borussia Dortmund looking pretty good. Inter versus Porto. Conceição versus one of his former teams. So that'll be fun. Inter, kind of hard to get a read on. They looked really poor against Juventus yesterday. Juventus, to their credit, actually looked pretty damn good. So credit to them where it's due. Chiesa's coming back, etc. And then finally, PSG versus Bayern. I spoke about that sort of at length prior. Bayern, probably one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world in this moment. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, he got another brace this weekend, by the way. Cannot stop scoring for them. Who thought that he would have been the heir apparent to Lewandowski? PSG, on the other hand, like I was saying, if they are on, if they are motivated, can be one of the best teams in the world. Certainly has one of the best attacks in the world when they're firing. But it's a question of, will they be up for it? Because they tend to have a bit of a slouch now and then. That said, still undefeated, still a very difficult team. But hey, I think Benfica showed that they're a team that you can sort of snuff out, and you don't have to be a Bayern or a Man City in order to do so. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for this long episode. Once again, this week we'll start our World Cup coverage, so be on the lookout for that. But other than that, thank you for watching. Thanks for spending another Monday with me, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here and you're excited for the World Cup because we'll have a lot of coverage there. But beyond that, I'm Adrian. This is Rabona TV. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care.